So in this video we're going to take a look at the brightness settings on the Garmin 955. So the way to think about brightness here is that if I were to push, for example, one of the buttons here, the display will light up, and then the brightness settings control for how long and how strong the brightness is. So to adjust this, go in and press the left middle button and then scroll down until you get to System. Then press the top right button and go down to Display. And here we have three different options. One is the settings for during activity, then general use, which is basically the day-to-day watch mode, as well as during sleep. So let's go ahead and look at the general use first. So if we go all the way down here, we can see the brightness level in terms of percent. So 100 is of course then the max, and here you can see the difference between 10 and 100. I usually keep mine at 90 as I find that gives a good balance. The second option here is timeout. So this controls for how long the brightness is on, all the way from 4 seconds up to 1 minute, as well as no timeout. So having this option enabled will keep the brightness settings on all the time, which is not something I would recommend for the general use case, as that is going to be quite draining on the battery if it's set very high. So I find 15 seconds here is usually more than sufficient. And then gesture. So if you have this set to on, then that means that when you move the watch towards you, as you can see on the video, the brightness will come on. So you can have this disabled, then on all the time, then on only after sunset. So after sunset is usually what I have enabled. So for alerts, you have the three same options. So alerts will mean that if you have an alarm going off, for example, then the brightness will come on. And lastly, keys and touch. So also here, off, on, and after sunset. This means that if you press any of the buttons or the touch screen, then also the brightness will come on. So that's general use. Now let's take a look at during activity. So we have all the same options here, but you might want to have it set a bit differently. So for example, I usually keep the brightness here at 90%, but with a slightly longer timeout. So that would give me more time to, for example, take a look at the lap alert during a run. You could also go, for example, all the way up to no timeout here, and then during the whole activity, the watch will stay at constant brightness level. So let's go back and keep this at 30 seconds. And then the gesture, alerts, and keys and touch would work in the same way. For example, alerts, if you get a lap alert during a run, then the brightness will come on. So that's during activity. And lastly, during sleep. So we don't have that many options here, but you have timeout, as well as if it's going to come on when you press any of the keys, and also then the level. So I usually keep this lower than for general use, of course. So 30 or 40% is what I find more than sufficient for a dark room during the night. So if we would just go ahead and take a quick look at where you adjust your sleep settings. So this is pressing and holding the left middle button from the main screen, then going down to System, and then you find Sleep Mode. Then you press Schedule, and here you will see the times that the watch is in the sleep mode. So this will also then be the times for when the brightness settings for during sleep is going to be enabled. So if you go back to sleep mode here, you can also adjust these on the watch itself or inside of Garmin Connect. So that's a quick look at how you adjust the brightness settings on the Garmin 955. Hope you found the video useful, and see you in the next one.